We finish up our San Jose Sharks prospect check-in by looking at the 2024 draft class. And guys, I think Macklin Celebrini is going to be kind of good.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker of the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL Tuesday. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to finish up our San Jose Sharks prospect midseason check-in by looking at the 2024 draft class. So we've looked at 2020, 2021, 2022, 23, and now we're going to finish up the 24 draft class. And why, no matter what, it looks like this is going to be a home run just because of one Macklin Celebrini. So we'll talk about Celebrini. We'll talk about Sam Dickinson, Leo Sahlin Wallenius, who's played for 4 teams this season, checking on all the WHL guys. So before we get to all that, I do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if you win or lose your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right. Just as a reminder of the 2024 NHL draft for the Sharks, all, of course, players are still under Sharks control because that'd be a little weird to trade a guy you just drafted 6 months ago, but things do happen. So, of course, in the first round, the Sharks drafted first overall, Macklin Celebrini, the Sharks' first ever and only ever first overall pick. Spoiler, it's working out pretty well. 11th, they got Sam Dickinson. In the second round, 33rd pick, it's Igor Chernyshov. 53rd pick, Leo Sahlin Wallenius. And the third round at 82 overall, Carson Wetsch. 116, Kirch, the goalie. That was the fourth round. 2 fifth-round picks at 131, Colton Roberts, and 143, Nate Misy, 2 defensemen playing in the WHL. And then finally, in the 7th round, they grabbed another goalie, Yaroslav Korotislav. Anyway, who's playing over in Russia right now in the MHL. So we're going to talk about each of these players, kind of their paths, how they're kind of performing so far, as we're kind of, the halfway point of basically every season right now. And we, of course, have to start with some guy named Macklin Celebrini. Macklin Celebrini so far in his NHL debut season, 33 games, 13 goals, 16 assists, 109 shots on goal, averaging 1946 time on ice at night. Corsi for 46.26, goals for 45.24. And I don't think Sharks fans in their wildest dreams had what Macklin Celebrini has done for the Sharks so far this season. And, he missed 12 games right after, beginning of the season. But since his return, he has been electric, right? I know some of the scoring production has dropped a little bit here over the past kind of week or so, but I'm not worried. I think Macklin Celebrini is doing a lot of positive things. And I think if he continues to play with the 70s line, as we talked about yesterday, I think you're going to see that production kick right back up. But he has been every bit what you hope for and more. As the first overall pick, there was potential thoughts of maybe you should go back to college and go play for Boston University. And no, he's been arguably the Sharks' best player. If not, he's on the very short list of the Sharks' best players this season. Leading the Calder race right now. I think I'm pulling up the FanDuel sports odds at the moment for kind of what his where he's at. Right now, Macklin Celebrini minus 280. Lane Hudson's next at plus 330. And then Michkov at plus 550. So it's even with the scoring, like kind of a little bit of a drop in scoring production, it's still Celebrini's award right now. And I think it would take another major injury basically for Celebrini to not bring home the Calder, at least midway through the point of the season. So I think, again, for Celebrini, like what he does in all three zones, right? And you see the defensive skills, you see his board play, just years above what you would kind of expect for an 18-year-old. I mean, even comparing to his own, and again, we try not to compare the children, but even comparing to Will Smith, who's, a year older coming out of college, it's just, you can see just how far advanced Macklin Celebrini is, and just the way he thinks the game, the way, just how physically mature he is, especially for his age, and just that kind of grit and intensity of the grit intensity. If you're if you know who you are, for type of player he is, where I've said it before and I'll say it again, like he is the mentality of a third liner with the skills of a superstar. And you see, like, every game, Macklin Celebrini does something special where you're just like, wow, like this player, and it might be something little, it might be something as like, basically almost like soccer, catching a puck with his foot and kicking it forward to complete the, start the transition. Basically catching a puck along his back, rolling it down. His ability he's just a transition monster, right? There's very few times where he gets the puck in the defensive zone and it doesn't end up with a successful transition into the offensive zone. And the Sharks are at least setting up for some sort of offense. All the skills you saw in college are coming to life here in the NHL. And that's why I think his game was so translatable already in college. And I think that's why you're seeing him have success, because of just how he plays the game. And you're seeing that night in, night out. And there's plenty of stuff he needs to work on, right? And again, as an 18-year-old kid, like, he's still scratching the surface of what type of NHL player he's going to be. But it feels like, I know a lot of, even fans going into the draft are like, well, he's not Connor Bedard. Yeah, but he's a lot better than a lot of things than Connor Bedard. And like, Connor Bedard is a generational talent, especially in the offensive zone. But Celebrini is just a more well-rounded, complete player. And I think if he is the cornerstone of your franchise, which it looks very much like he's going to be the cornerstone of the Sharks franchise, we're in great position for the next 15 to 20 years. And it's easy to have the Sidney Crosby, comparison. But like, when Sidney Crosby walked into Pittsburgh, he changed the franchise, right? When Macklin Celebrini walked into the San Jose, he's changing the franchise, and you can already see it now, even in the short time he's been here, where the Sharks are, yes, they're still losing. They're still losing a lot of games, but when Celebrini's on the ice, it is appointment TV. Like, you have to watch, because you never know when he's going to pull something off. And I have a feeling, I don't know when, but I have a feeling very soon we're going to have one of those Celebrini games where you're going to like look back and be like, that was the game that really kind of kicked things off for him. And he played really well on Saturday against the Wild. And yes, I know, shorthanded team right there is dealing with a lot of injuries, but you could tell he was just in another gear that game. And they had a lot of opportunities to score. And I think Celebrini we could be looking at like that potential 4 or 5 point game that I think we're all waiting to see, that one game where we're just like, yep, that dude's just a different dude, and just to kind of help cement that legacy with him. So, I mean, it's easy when you have the first overall pick and there's nobody else in the draft that's a caliber player like Macklin Celebrini. But again, I think for what even my expectations, I had high expectations for Celebrini coming into this year. He has blown them out of the water just because of how special of a player he is and how quickly he has grasped the game and how much the Sharks are already asking for of him. They give him a lot of opportunities. And I think as he continues to kind of get older, stronger, faster, like, the Sharks haven't even put him on the penalty kill that much. Wait till he starts to become like a penalty, like a mainstay on the penalty kill. Like, and he starts causing havoc there. Again, this guy is going to be one of those 23-minute a night, 25-minute a night type of guys who's you're going to have to drag off the ice. So we got one, guys. We got one. So we'll continue to look at the rest of the draft class. Of course, we'll talk about Sam Dickinson, how his domination in the OHL, what he still needs to kind of work on. And we'll talk Leo Sahlin Wallenius, and his 4 teams. Dude's played on 4 teams this season. So we'll check in on him. And, of course, all the WHL guys. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. There's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Again, I really like the Bills. I know it's a tough game this weekend, but I just think it's the Bills. I think it's the Bills' year. And I'm going to keep riding with Josh Allen because Josh Allen's pretty good at football. Yeah. Bills are even getting a 1.5 at home. That's disrespectful. Give me the Bills. I think they win this weekend. So, visit FanDuel.com to join today. You get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, before we continue, we talk about Sam Dickinson, some of the other guys here. Do want to, of course, thank you guys for making a Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, go check out the Locked On Fantasy Hockey, or check out any of the shows here in the Bay Area. Locked On A's, Locked On Giants, Locked On Warriors, Locked On Niners. Plenty of great stuff happening in the Locked On universe. Even though the Bay Area sports aren't super great right now, we still got you covered every day. So make sure you go check out one of those shows wherever you get this show. Or, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, of course, the other first-round pick, Sam Dickinson, who the Sharks drafted 11th overall after moving up from 14th to 11th. Looking like Sam Dickinson, pretty good. 28 games this season with the London Knights, 16 goals, 33 assists, 133 shots on goal. I believe he is third in the OHL right now in scoring, despite playing about 15 to 20 less games than at least among defensemen. So yeah, he's pretty good. And I know we'll always have the Z William versus Sam Dickinson debates, and that's not what we're going to do today. But I do really believe very highly in Sam Dickinson. So yeah, Sam Dickinson has 49 points. He is third in the OHL among defensemen. The 2 guys in front of him have played 40 games and 41 games, and they have so guys played 51 points in 41 games, and then Henry Muse has 55 points in 40 games. So he is right behind him despite playing 13 games less than these guys. So but anyway, Sam Dickinson having a monster year in the OHL, and I've documented what Sam Dickinson needs to work on, right? It's a lot of the kind of the processing, and for him, I think it's keeping things from spiraling. We've seen that with Sam Dickinson, where sometimes one bad shift turns into a couple bad shifts, which turns into a bad period, and that's something that he'll need to continue to work on. But I still believe in Sam Dickinson a lot. I think he is going to be a huge, huge part of the Sharks' defensive core in the future, and I think the Sharks are going to have a big decision what to do with him this off season, because since he won't be 20, right? He's 18. He was a late birthday. He turned 18 right after the draft, if I am correct, if I recall correctly, or right before the draft. So he's a June 7th, 2006 baby. So he is still 18. He'll turn 19 this next summer. Not eligible to play in the AHL next year. So he's very much Sharks, or you have to go back to juniors. And since he signed his ELC, he can't go to college to play. So Sharks have a really interesting decision what to do with him. If maybe you give him the 9 games, see how he performs, and then you send him back to the OHL, or maybe you just kind of go the Kevin Kurchinski route of like, you're just gonna get your butt kicked for a year, but we think this is what's best for you in the long run. So well, plenty of debate about what to do with Sam Dickinson this offseason, but he's well on his way to be performing. And like, he plays a bajillion minutes a night for London, all situations, power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5. He's playing a bajillion minutes a night. And that could also lead to maybe some of those mental mistakes because of just how many minutes he's playing for London. So no worries about Sam Dickinson. I think he's going to be great. So next, Igor Chernyshov, who has yet to play this season, coming off a shoulder surgery. He's a little bit interesting here because unlike Dickinson, who's part of the CHL agreement, he has a little bit more of an open road right now. And Chernyshov, who I know has been in San Jose working out as he's kind of recovering from his shoulder surgery, he's actually officially on the Barracuda's roster right now. I wonder, and I'm just thinking out loud, for a guy who played in the KHL last year and played very well, playing bottom 6 minutes in the KHL, physical type of player, does San Jose maybe give him a little bit of a test run with the Barracuda, see if he hangs, keep him around, or if he, if they feel like they need some seasoning, you can send him to Saginaw, who's an extremely awesome team. It's probably going to go on a deep playoff run this year. Should be returning here soon. Like I said, he has been on the ice working out. Should be starting to kind of ramp up here soon. I'm just curious to see what the plan is with Igor Chernyshov. No matter what he does this year, I kind of fully expect him to be on the Barracuda next year, just because of, again, a guy who's spent time in the KHL, was very effective in his role in the KHL. I kind of think he's going to be in San Jose full-time next year, no matter what kind of happens this season for him. So I'm really excited about Chernyshov and kind of what his future looks like here. So another second-round pick, Leo Sahlin Wallenius, who has played for 4 teams this season. We'll start with the J20 team with the Bajo Lakers. Played 8 games, 3 goals, 11 assists. He also played in the SHL. He played 6 games, no points, no shots on goal. He's playing like a minute a night, which is not great. But again, they're like 7th defensemen, and the way they kind of treat those guys. Anyway, also played in the Hockey Allsvenskan. He got loaned there to the Nybro Vikings, where he played 14 games, had a goal, 5 assists with 23 shots on goal, and has now been loaned to TPS and Liga in the Finnish league, where he's played 1 game so far, 2 shots on goal. I think he had about 20 minutes of ice time, if I recall. This is the weird situation where, like, and you kind of feel for these young guys, especially over in the SHL, where they're just don't have a home right now, right? He's probably too good to be playing on the J20 team, right? But the SHL team is not a good place for him to kind of develop because he's just not getting ice time. So he played in the Hockey Allsvenskan, and he's performing pretty well over there, but now he's playing in Liga for a little bit. And I think he's on loan until the end of February there. Like, it's just a really weird path. And I still like Sahlin Wallenius. I think he's a long-term project, but it is, I don't want to say it's a red flag, but it definitely raises some eyebrows when you play for 4 teams and you're not even halfway through the season. And again, I know it's the European leagues, like it's a little bit trickier, right? You don't have that like AHL type of team, right? In Russia, they have the KHL, they have the VHL, which is like kind of their American Hockey League. And then they have the MHL, which is their juniors, right? And here in North America, you have the NHL, you have the AHL, and then you have your juniors or college. Like, there's kind of levels for everyone to play. But I think Over there, it's a little bit harder to try to kind of find for a guy like Wallenius who needs to be playing games. He's kind of stuck where like just trying to find a spot for him to be able to continue his development because he's not SHL ready, right? He's not ready to kind of play it there, but he needs to play, and he's kind of he's a tweener right now, unfortunately. So hopefully he can stick and get some games here, because that's with all these young players, right? That's the best thing you need, is just to get some games under your belt. So we'll finish up here by talking about all the WHL guys and the 2 goalies that the Sharks drafted. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or thought you were paying for twice? It definitely happened to me. My wife downloaded it, realized we had a bunch of subscriptions that we just plain forgot about, right? Because you sign up for it and then you just forget about it. So Rocket Money made it easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users that saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Again, that's like 3 Macklin Celebrini jerseys right there. That's just free money, free jerseys. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. rocketmoney.com/locked on. All right, before we finish up, of course, I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe. Spoiler, we're starting draft coverage here really soon. So if you want to start getting ready for the 2025 draft, you can do that. So make sure you guys are subscribing wherever you get podcasts. If you're listening on YouTube or if you're listening on Apple, make sure to leave a review. Helps us. The Apple algorithm reviews help. So, all right. Carson Wetsch, 3rd round pick, playing with the Calgary Hitmen, the captain of the Calgary Hitmen. 39 games this year, 19 goals, 14 assists, 149 shots on goal. Wetsch is having a really solid season so far for Calgary. The thing I really like about him is he's very consistent. He knows exactly what his role is. He's a down dirty. I'm going to get in the greasy areas. I'm going to score goals that way. I'm going to play in all situations. And I'm going to be consistent offensively. Like, you don't see the 5-point explosions followed by no goals for 3 games. Like, he is one, I'm just goal, maybe, he's going to be very, very consistent with his production. And I think for Wetsch, this Calgary team, they went out, they loaded up. They're a team that's trying to make a deep run in the WHL playoffs this year. They also have Carter Yakimchuk, who's the 7th overall pick to the Sens this year. This is a pretty good team, and I think he's gonna be a key part. Maybe not not the flashiest name, but I think he's well on his way to kind of serving a role for the Sharks, and that role is going to be that high energy, 3rd line, stick up for your teammates type of player. I'm not saying Luke Cunningham, but that type of role, different player from Luke Cunningham. I think Wetsch has got a little bit more edge to him than Cunningham. But that type of role of, bottom 6, maybe if you need him playing the middle 6 type in a pinch type of player. But that's kind of the path for Carson Wetsch. Big kid who does not mind to kind of get down and dirty. And I think is going to be beloved by Sharks fans once you kind of see him play some more. So, solid seasons to start for Wetsch. And again, I love the consistency out of him. Just a dude who's just every time you check the box scores, watching his games, he is, point here, point there. He continually kind of is adding in the offensive zone. So, Next, the goalie, Sharks picked in the 4th round, Christian Kirch, who also did get to play in the World Juniors. He's been over here in the U.S., played most of his games with the Janesville Jets in the NAHL, which is kind of the league right below the USHL. 9 games over there, 290 goals against average, 925 save percentage with 3 wins and 0 shutouts. Has played a couple USHL games. Haven't gone super well. 2 games, he has a 495 goals against average and 846 save percentage. Goalies, again, it's such a long development path. So I don't get scared off by those numbers. I thought he looked pretty solid as well, playing in World Juniors against his peers, but maybe a little bit kind of better, players around him. So again, like he's a guy he's gonna go to college. He's gonna spend 4 years in college developing. Like this is not a guy to kind of expect to be in San Jose anytime soon. Like even after he finishes college, he's probably gonna spend some time in the ECHL. Like this is a very long development path for a guy like him. So don't panic on the numbers and stuff here. So back to the WHL. Colton Roberts, who the Sharks grabbed in the 5th round, playing for Vancouver in the WHL. 39 games. He's got 3 goals, 16 assists with 53 shots on goal. Roberts is a blue collar, tough, defensive defenseman. Got a little bit of offensive game in his pop, but he is known for he's going to make your life hard in the defensive zone. And watching those, his games, he's a very physical type of player. And that's going to be his role for the Sharks. And again, don't expect him. This isn't like a Luca Cagnoni where he's going to be in the, in the AHL next year. I expect him next couple seasons in the W before transitioning over to professional hockey. And he might be one of those guys who maybe flirts, kind of bounces between the ECHL and the AHL for a little bit. We'll see how the Sharks defensive pipeline looks by then. But I still think there is a path for him to playing NHL games. And at worst, if he's a really high quality AHL guy who can step up, and if you have some injuries and needs to play in the NHL, I think that could kind of be his pathway to being his professional hockey career. So, and then Nate Misy, who the Sharks also drafted in the 5th round as an overager. So in Victoria this year, 36 games, 8 goals, 18 assists, 80 shots on goal. Another big boy. I think he has a little bit more offensive pop than Colton Roberts. He has been does get a little bit more opportunity offensively than Roberts does. He is an overager, so he could potentially, he's already 20. So next year, he could be one of those, spend some time in the ECHL and then maybe play some AHL games as well next year. And again, it kind of depends on the Sharks pipeline, the defense, especially they do have so many guys in the Barracuda. If you think about Furlong, Furlong's probably going to be in the AHL again next year. Cagnoni, maybe not. You hope Mukumadulin's a full-time NHLer, but some of the veterans that they have around, Misky could be. I kind of think probably starting the ECHL, that way he can at least play some games and kind of get some ice time before making the transition. But kind of same thing with Roberts, where I think he's probably your 6-7 type of defenseman, but he can kind of step in and for you for a pinch if you need him to play some games eventually. So, and then finally, goaltender Yaroslav Kortsalov. He's been playing in the MHL, which is the Russian juniors, so kind of this equivalent to the OHL or the WHL or the Q. 15 games over there, really nice. 1.97 goals against average, 916 save percentage, 8 wins and 2 shutouts. Playing for St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is they're always a good team. And again, he's one of those guys probably spent I think next year, hopefully maybe he can kind of make the jump up to playing in their VHL, which is again the American Hockey League, maybe play some KHL games here and there. But again, especially with these Russian guys, let them stay over there, simmer for a little bit before kind of coming over here. So we'll see. I haven't watched much MHL hockey this year, unfortunately. So I haven't watched them, but so far at least those stats are encouraging. But again, playing on St. Petersburg, it's usually a pretty good team. So that's going to be it. We finished 2020 draft, 2021 draft, 2022 draft, 2023 draft, 2024, 5 drafts we did over the last couple of weeks. We looked back at all the players in those drafts from Sharks prospects. So we'll do it all over again at the end of the season. Kind of see how these guys' seasons have gone. So we'll be back tomorrow, though, to discuss the Sharks Red Wings game. I'm actually really excited for this game. I think there's a lot of storylines. Red Wings who are red hot right now. You got Jake Wallman heading home. Can Macklin Celebrini kind of maybe spoil some? We already saw Celebrini score a big game-winning overtime goal. I'm really excited about this. Irrationally excited about this game for some reason. So we'll break down that game. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.